The Chicago Cubs have not spent a dollar yet in the major league portion of free agency, but that does not mean that this team isn't poised to make some blockbuster deals. And they're, according to experts, one of 4 teams left for Shota Imanaga, left-handed pitcher from Japan. We're going to talk about that, a signing that they made yesterday, what that means towards the roster, and some other news and notes. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to talk to you guys. Let's get the party started. Go Cubs. What do you say, guys? Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. I'm Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick on the socials. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's talk some Cubs baseball. And I guess we'll start with the thing that's most interesting to me, and that is that MLB insider, former GM, Jim Bowden, says that the Cubs are one of 4 teams in the finals for Shota Imanaga, right? The left-handed pitcher from Japan last year with the BayStars, a 2.80 ERA, does not walk many batters. Like 4% of the guys he faces, he walks, but he strikes out a ton. That's going to translate to the major leagues with Imanaga. Gives up a lot of home runs, but there's a possibility that will shrink down because the ballparks in America are bigger. And that also could have chased off some teams that thought about Imanaga, but because their ballpark plays small, they thought, well, you know what? It might not be a good fit. And one of those teams is the Yankees. So here's the 4 teams that Bowden said were a possibility. And we'll start with the Cubs. I think the Cubs are a really good possibility. They've been talking about the Cubs from the beginning. And the Cubs need a starting pitcher. Marcus Stroman opted out. They want to replace him in the rotation. They really appreciate what Japanese players bring to the team, to the clubhouse with Seiya Suzuki, and not just the fact that the guy can play, but just the positive energy, the work ethic. They're team oriented in Japan. They come up that way, and it is really a good quality to bring to a big league clubhouse. Then you got the Red Sox. Possibility. They're an organization that seems to be wanting to spend less money. They just traded Chris Sale to the Braves in what felt like a price-cutting move, right? Then you got the Giants. And I think the Giants could be a serious contender. But the Giants pulled off a trade yesterday, one of the biggest trades, I feel like, this offseason. They get Robbie Ray from the Mariners for Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani. And I'm wondering if this will impact signing Shota Imanaga. I mean, it possibly could. Or how about even Cody Bellinger with Haniger out? Now you got an empty spot in your outfield. I don't know. But those are the things we kind of look at when a trade like that is made. So the Giants are in the mix. Then you got the Angels. And the Angels are an organization right now that is in total disrepair. They're going to have to build from the bottom already up. They had a farm system that was full of minor league free agents, not guys that they drafted. They made some trades at the deadline that were ludicrous. And now, not only do they not have those guys, did they not make the playoffs, but they didn't even sign they didn't even sign Ohtani. So it was all for nothing. So you can go there, even with Ohtani and Mike Trout, the team still didn't make the playoffs. To give you an idea of what kind of team and organization the Angels have right now. Long way to go for the Angels to get back in the mix. But they're in this as well. So those are the 4 teams. And it'll come down to one of those 4 teams for Imanaga. Now, remember, we have talked about this. Imanaga was posted by the BayStars out of the Japanese Major League Baseball League, and you have until the 11th of January to get the deal done. So it's happening. You know, we're moving right now. January 6th, he's got a week to get this done. So you're down to these 4 teams, and anything can happen. We're expecting that this is going to be a contract between $75 million and $100 million over what most likely would be a 5-year period. And we'll keep you updated on that. Now, the Cubs may be in the mix for Blake Snell as well, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He's had some injury issues, but when he's healthy, he's dominant. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on a different show. But don't count them out on that as well. Maybe all of the coziness that the Cubs and Scott Boras have had talking about Cody Bellinger has opened up some talk about the Cy Young Award winner, Blake Snell. If the Cubs wanted to make a real big splash, Blake Snell would be that guy. Although some stories came out earlier this week that maybe Snell was hoping to play for the Yankees, which would be interesting within itself. So we'll find out, and we'll talk more about that. But the Cubs haven't made any moves yet, and it feels like they're poised to make something happen. Now, when I say make something happen, I'm not talking about the move that they made yesterday. The move that they made yesterday for catcher Brian Serven is another illustration of something that I've talked about with you guys before, and that is that this organization, the Cubs organization, does not have much catching depth. You talk about, 3 years ago, where anyone that had a glove and could catch got a chance to catch in the big leagues because of injuries, right? And Miguel Amaya got hurt that year, so he didn't even get the opportunity. Well, Pablo Aliendo, a lot of people feel like, is really the only option in the minor leagues as far as viable prospect candidates. You got Yan Gomes, who when he's out there, he's great, but he's also starting to get close to 40. And so you wonder, how many games does Yan Gomes have left in him? And so the Cubs have gone out, and this is the third guy that people call 4A players, AAA, big league, shuttle bus back and forth, that they've signed, and they're bringing the spring training. And it tells me that they know that they need some catchers. So Serven, who was claimed off of waivers from the Rockies last season, was 3 for 23 and hit 130 in the big leagues, played 11 games. The year before that, he made his major league debut, May 18th, 2022 at the Rockies, ended up playing 62 games that season, hit 203, had 4 doubles, a triple, and 6 home runs, and 16 runs batted in. So you're not talking about a guy who has really torn it up with the bat. In 7 minor league seasons with Colorado's organization, he hit 240. But he's a good defender, and that is something that the Cubs really desperately need right now. So Serven is the guy that they just signed, and that'll be, like I said, the third 4A catcher that the Cubs have put on the roster going into spring training, and we're still a month or so out from pitchers and catchers reporting. So that's where we are right now. There's a lot of smoke that the Cubs are going to make some moves. There's a lot of people saying don't sleep on the Cubs because just ignore the fact that they haven't done anything. There's some things coming. And it could be Bellinger, and it could be a frontline starter like Imanaga, or possibly even Blake Snell. Wouldn't that be great? And honestly, I mean, look, if you're going to put out $100 million, wouldn't you rather have a Blake Snell, a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, than a guy that's never pitched in a major league game before? I think that's a question that they have to ask themselves. But they've scouted him, and maybe he comes in and is fantastic. All right, guys, that's it for today. I do want to tell you this, that we appreciate the Tennessee Smokies team store, SmokiesBaseball.com /store, for supporting the channel. They've got autographs of some of the Cubs' top prospects, baseball cards, game-worn jerseys. They've got Cubs gear. They've got championship gear. The Smokies won their first championship in 45 seasons this year. So find out for yourself. That's the Smokies team store. And go Cubs.